I didn't go into interior design to like have a career that just was focused on like profit and success. I mean, that of course is necessary to maintain a business and provide for my family. But I was really trying to figure out early on, like, how do I connect it back to my roots and in the community and my, real commitment and love for the community.
Welcome to the On the Wall podcast, where we engage in conversations with artists, designers, enthusiasts, and visionaries who shape the world of interiors. Today's guest is Robin Gahan of Marble Moon Interiors. If you enjoy these conversations, please take a moment to subscribe, leave a rating, leave a review, and share this podcast with a friend. Welcome to the On the Wall podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Dahman. I am joined again by Winnie Williams. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Winnie was the guest on the last podcast, but she's now joining me as co-host. So that should be cool and fun. Just a quick note at the top of the show, we are now on video, so you can subscribe to the YouTube channel and watch us. So if you're listening and you're curious to know what these people look like and you want to follow along the visuals and things that I have on the screen, you can go to youtube.com/onthewall_podcast and follow along there, subscribe. And then we just launched our social media channel, so you can check us out at instagram.com/ at On the Wall Podcast _official. So at On the Wall Podcast _official on Instagram. You'll see clips from the show and things like that. So so check us out there. But we're going to be joined a little bit later by Robin from Marble Moon Interiors, and that should be cool to talk to her. She was involved in this really cool charity show house kind of thing that was auctioned off for St. Jude. But we'll get into that a little bit later. But first, how you doing, Winnie?
Yeah, really good. It's I had my little holiday last week. It was fun releasing our first podcast together. It was also really fun to watch the wallpaper fall off from behind me.
Yeah. On the wall, things were coming off the wall.
They were. It was a bit like, I think when you do anything the first time, it doesn't go completely to plan. And I was sort of winging it. I was in mid-house renovation, so that was like my temporary setup. So I kind of love.
Well, I noticed the background's different where you're at now.
Yeah, so now I'm in my actual home, in my actual bedroom with a poodle and blonde wallpaper. So I'm more grounded this week.
What actually happened that right before? Because I know we were about to record, and you're like, "Wait, I need a few minutes or something." Like something was not going right.
Oh, just technology. Like me and technology aren't friends. So it's probably some like technical thing, and just like sellotaping wallpaper to my friend's wall 2 seconds before we started. So that's
awesome. Well, you made it work. You wouldn't have known it until like the last 10 minutes where you're like, I didn't even know it was falling off at first. I looked and I said, is that just the sun moving and casting like a shadow on the wall? Like I couldn't really tell. And I was like, oh no, wait, I think that's wallpaper's falling off.
Yeah, I am actually a really good wallpaperer, but that was not one of my finest moments. But there we go.
You install it yourself when you put up wallpaper?
Yeah, I actually love wallpapering, and I think anybody can do it, especially paste the wall. I got into wallpapering because I paid somebody. I was about to pay them a lot of money to come and wallpaper my first bit of poodle blonde paper, and I caught him YouTubing how to wallpaper in my living room, and I was like, absolutely not. So I chucked him out. I got the YouTube up, and now I'm a really good wallpaperer. So I tell everybody, give it a go because it's easier than it looks.
Wow. So you saw somebody looking up how to wallpaper, and you're just like, not in my house.
No way.
Wow.
Can you wallpaper?
How long? I'm sure I could. I haven't. So I won't say that I can. No.
You haven't? I'll have to teach you.
No. I mean, I've seen it done a bunch of times, and I've video recorded it and all that kind of stuff, but I have not. Well, I've helped, but I haven't actually like by myself. Yeah. Okay. It doesn't count. How long did it take you until like you were like proficient?
Maybe maybe a few goes of messing up, bit of paper.
Yeah.
But no, it is a lot easier than it looks. So I definitely tell people get stuck in. Like, it can cost a lot to pay someone to put it up. So I'd rather buy the wallpaper with that. I'd rather buy more wallpaper.
So what's the design that's behind you that you have hanging up?
This is Poodle and Blonde. This is called Glaze, and it was inspired by like German fat lava like glazed lamps. So this was one of our prints from it. Yeah, it's quite textural, close up.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now you did just, I mean, your wallpaper just got launched through Milton and King, which is pretty cool. Have you gotten any like feedback or anything like that? Because I just launched August 7th, so it's
to work with Milton and King. It's just like so excited for our customers worldwide to get our papers like quicker, and just it just feels really fun to launch it everywhere. And we just launched a new collection as well called The Florist, and it's our first collection of floral prints. We've never done florals, so that's out. We're getting really good feedback from the Milton and King customers. I think they just love our retro. It's very retro, isn't it? Like in your face. So
I dig it. It's one of my favorite launches that I've seen in a little while. So
thanks so much.
Very cool. Yeah. So that's cool. So we have Robin here. She's waiting to get in. So I'll go ahead and let her in.
On the Wall is brought to you by Milton and King, your trusted partner for luxury crafted wall coverings. Milton and King's trade program is designed to make your creative process seamless, offering exclusive trade-only benefits such as complimentary samples, early access to new collections, and professional pricing structured to enhance your business success. To assist with your projects, you'll have the flexibility to create your own custom swatch book, tailored specifically to your design needs. With dedicated customer support every step of the way, our trade program is here to elevate your design vision and simplify your journey from inspiration to installation. Ready to join a partner who understands your craft? Visit miltonandking.com to apply for your trade account today. Milton & King, your vision, our craftsmanship.
Hello.
Robin.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. How about you today?
Good. So I want to make sure I have your last name right, because I saw it and I was like, to me, I just think of like one of my favorite singers of all time, and I go, it's Gahan. Is that wrong? It's wrong, right? Because I saw the news lady say it differently.
Yes, it's funny because I like to say it's how my in-laws say it. That doesn't mean it's right or wrong, but they say it as Gan, like can with a G.
Okay, so Robin Gan.
Yep.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, is she not related to Dave Gahan from Depeche Mode? Is she?
No. I think that is the correct pronunciation from the Depeche Mode, but again, we'll let that rest.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us on the wall. So I know you're from Marble Moon Interiors. That's your company, but maybe for our audience, you can kind of just give a background about who you are and where you're based and all that kind of stuff.
Sure. So again, Robin Gann, Marble Moon Interiors is my interior design studio. I'm based in Richmond, Virginia, but serve all over the greater Richmond area as well as outside of Virginia. Love, opportunities to do e-design with folks who may not be physically where I am. And I started my business a little over 3.5 years ago after a career of 20 years in the nonprofit sector, and I was excited to really invest in my own creativity and find a way to share that with others.
How do you like the e-design stuff?
I do like it. I think I couldn't imagine doing it alone because I really enjoy that tactile experience in working like either full service or a designer for a day package that I offer. But it can be fun. And in fact, I've found that even there's sometimes folks who are local who just need help with picking a color palette or recommending a furniture layout, how to maximize, what they currently have in their space. So those e-design projects can be, really like low scope or they can be full key, just handing all of the details over to the client to implement on their own.
And how did you make that transition into interiors?
So, it's kind of one of those funny stories where I had made excuses for a long time that, I had the eye for arts and interiors and architecture, but I didn't have, the talent. And then I recognized after some reflection, well, if you have the eye for it, you have the talent, and you just need to build your skills, which I'm a huge fan of education. And so I'd already had a bachelor's and master's degree in social work and had young kids. And this was kind of at the height of the COVID pandemic. And so was not looking to go back to school for another 4-year degree. If maybe different circumstances, I love to learn. But another local University of Richmond, has an interior decorating certificate program, which was year long. So I just decided, let me invest in this time and in myself. And if anything comes out of this, whether that's I'm a more informed hobbyist and better able to help my family and friends and, my own home, or find that this is really something that I see as a career path and transition for myself. And it was pretty quick into it that I realized I'm just really enjoying this. And it's, at a great time in my career and phase of life to be able to make that adjustment.
When you said you were involved in nonprofits, what sort of work in the nonprofit space were you doing?
Yeah, so I mentioned my, previous education had been in social work and more in the policy and community side, as opposed to more clinical, or when people think counseling, therapy, things like that. So I'd always been very interested in solving challenging, complex problems and engaging those who are impacted by those problems and proposing the solution. So I enjoyed many years of working in more of an advocacy role, building up grassroots advocates, lobbying at our state General Assembly, to then really community organization and, problem solving, again, with community members themselves. So it started in addressing housing and homelessness, worked for an interfaith organization for many years on a lot of poverty alleviation policy, and then had the last 10 years of my career at the American Heart Association. So really am proud of all of that work, and still, have a deep tie to the community, which is why the St. Jude Dream Home was such a perfect opportunity for me to blend those skills and experience.
I definitely want to get into the St. Jude Dream Home. So what you were doing before, it really had it was a completely different industry. It was nothing to do with interior design. It was completely separate.
Absolutely.
Wow. So when you thought like, oh, I'll go in interior design, were you doing kind of stuff on the side as like a hobby or anything like that up until then, like while you were doing all the kind of nonprofit stuff?
Yes, definitely. So the first solid year of when I decided to, incorporate and start my business, I had just finished the interior design certificate program, and was asking family and friends if they would let me, design a space for them, and just starting to build my portfolio, doing things in my own home to demonstrate those skills and my vision. And then as that continued to grow and take off, and I was able to build a client base, it continued to grow. And I was essentially in a place where I had to decide. It had to be one or the other. I had to either make the leap of faith and have a complete career change, or really decline the growth in clients and just continue it as a hobby. But I felt ready. I was ready for the switch. And it's been 6 months since, 8 months, it's already August, since I have been doing this completely full time and am loving it.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah. Your style just feels really bold and colorful. Did you always have that sort of footprint for your designs, or did that develop over time?
Yes, definitely. It's funny. I was talking with my kids about, as I was in college and the different, apartments I had and all the different colors I would paint my rooms. And that was the first thing I had to paint the room, have a fun bedspread, what was within my means as a college student. But I've always loved, really bold, fun colors and pattern. And I think, those tastes have become more refined, and I've been able to have much more of like a clear vision in the type of design aesthetic that I really enjoy. But I also love helping people who may not have the same aesthetic as me. In fact, I would say most of my clients to date, are not as into as much color, but we always find ways to incorporate it so that it is authentic to the client, authentic to my style, and the unique, factor that they bring an interior designer on to help them with. So I feel, there's certain spaces that I can really go extra with those colors. And my interior design studio is one of those. We have these two windows that kind of bump out towards the street, and we color drench them in this really bright orange. And it's like perfect for there. Most people would not be up for me color drenching in bright orange, but it's all about where you put it and how you use it. And art, like you can see behind me, art, wallpaper, tile, those are all kinds of ways that we can add a lot of personality to folks' homes.
Is there like a particular sort of place you get your inspiration from? I love sort of films and like vintage markets and flea markets. Is there anything that inspires you?
Museum. I love art. Art is often a huge driver, and even our Virginia Museum of Fine Arts, there's, vintage and antique furniture that are part of the museum as well. So I love looking at both, ceramics, fine art, really the gamut. Sculpture really inspire me, but also I love flipping through, my magazines. I have, everything from Arts Digest to House Beautiful and everything in between. I just love looking through it and seeing the creative visions other people have. And then, I really do think when I'm starting on a project and I'm looking for inspiration, I often start with like, is there something already that is really important to you? Whether that's, a piece of art, a family heirloom, something that can help us kind of find what your story is and build from that to really make it authentic. And that's where I think you mentioned like flea markets and things like that. I love incorporating vintage furniture, vintage art, vintage decor to really kind of ground that and ensure it's very authentic and unique.
Yeah, I think you can get so much from a client from their wardrobe. That's always my hack. It's like, show me your wardrobe and I'll design the room.
Yes, I love that. That's a great suggestion.
Yeah.
Cool. It probably wouldn't work with me. If they looked at my wardrobe, they'd end up painting my walls black.
Be like, there you go.
Like you're sat in your black
modern
room. Yeah.
So you mentioned that, so you had worked, I said, at the very end of your sort of nonprofit work, you said it was with the Heart Association.
Yes.
And so you were involved with the medical
community
field or community. Yeah. So then you got involved with this St. Jude Dream Home, and that's how I learned about you, is through this, I guess, would you call it charity event?
Yes.
And so if for those who are not familiar, St. Jude, my familiar with St. Jude is you see their commercials on TV, and it's always like, the kids with terrible cancers and other diseases and things. And, they ask for donations because from my understanding is St. Jude, you never see a bill, right? That's right. All they take care of kids, and regardless of your financial, well-being or whatever, they take you on, and it's the family never sees a bill. So do I have that right? Is that,
yes,
they're the same?
You've got it. So Danny Thomas, who's the founder of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, which is in Memphis, Tennessee, but is an international charity and nonprofit. And so just like you said, Chris, they do not turn away any child or family in need. They provide medical care at no cost. They'll often help with transportation because, again, people are coming from all over the world in the country, lodging, et cetera. And so, while we don't have St. Jude's Hospital here in Richmond, and we do actually have a wonderful children's hospital here in the city, they are really on the forefront and leaders in research and innovation around childhood cancers and lots of other very debilitating diseases, and that can really shorten or end children's lives, including sickle cell. And so this was kind of the perfect mix of my passion not only for interior design, but for giving back and helping the community in a really meaningful way. And so this was the 7th year of the St. Jude Dream Home in Richmond, Virginia. There are about 40 localities all over the country that participate in these campaigns. And essentially a home builder and all the tradespeople around them come together, providing everything pro bono to make this home built from scratch. And then we sell $100 raffle tickets. So anybody can buy a raffle ticket. And we raised $1.45 million this year alone in Richmond for St. Jude. And one person's name was polled and won the home. So it's pretty incredible. It's, it's $100 ticket that you could own this beautiful home. In fact, this year was the largest home yet. It was 3 stories, really beautiful property and really beautiful community. And so it was such an opportunity and wonderful opportunity to be part of it. And, I said, I'm in, if you'll have me, I'm in for next year. I just really enjoyed it so much, being able to help share the mission of St. Jude and to support it directly.
Introducing Benchmade Modern. Tailored sofas crafted just for you, delivered in as little as 4 weeks. Create a custom piece that perfectly reflects your style. Choose from our collection of designs from timeless to modern. Customize the size, then personalize with your ideal fabric, cushion, and leg style. Discover your dream sofa today.
How did you get involved? Like, how did they know about you, or did you apply for it or hear about it? Like, how did the connection get made between you and
Great
St. Jude?
question. And it's not this way at every community, but in Richmond, typically the home builder Stylecraft would bring a designer, not necessarily on their own staff, but an external designer to the table. And a friend of mine had done the Dream Home the 2 years prior and was ready to pass the torch. And so reached out to say, if anybody's interested, I'd be happy to share my experience with you and make those introductions. So I saw that and jumped right on it and, learned from her about what an amazing experience it was. It helped really prepare me for the scope and the amount of work it would take to make it all happen. And then, essentially interviewed and talked with the folks at Stylecraft in St. Jude in Virginia for them to decide if they'd like to move forward. So it was wonderful, wonderful experience.
Would you say that it was I guess it would be, but a bigger job than your normal?
Yes. It's a whole, it was, and that was the thing for me too. The scale was a little intimidating, but I knew this was such a, opportunity that I don't often get to design an entire home and make every single finish and selection. So from, lighting, flooring, tile, appliances, paint, faucets, literally everything you can think of, aside from the actual model of the home, which the builders had already determined. And, at some point I just had to envision, like, who is this house for? And was initially thinking of like this kind of ideal client who might win this house. And then I realized I literally have no control over that whatsoever. So I ultimately put myself and my family in the shoes of, if we were going to live in this home, how would we use it? How would we feel at home, both in terms of ease and comfort and, also a place that is full of life and vibrant.
How much freedom did you have to?
A lot.
Because did you have to, because I imagine there was a huge group of people involved.
Yes.
What was the dynamic between you and, I guess, the builders? And like, was it just like, Robin, you do whatever you want kind of thing?
For the most part, it was. There were certain things. So for example, the vanities in the bathroom, those were pretty standard builder vanities. I could pick, different colors. And then we had a whole other vendor who was willing to donate all of the countertops for the bathrooms, for the laundry room, for the kitchen. And so I asked, if I'm asking too much, you can tell me, but I would really love it if we could do a very unique natural stone. And they were agreeable to that. So we put, beautiful stone, marble in the bathrooms, quartzite in the kitchens, gorgeous jade green. But other than that, I mean, I think the only limitations were, certain things were standard for them as a builders. Like the layout of the kitchen was set, but I could choose all the finishes of the hardware, the color, the style of the door. Really, the skies were kind of the limit with that. And the national sponsors for St. Jude Dream Home include Kichler, they're a lighting company, Brizo, which is the luxury line of Delta faucets, Train for the HVAC system. I know I'm forgetting Shaw flooring for carpets and tiles and hardwood. So there was kind of an unlimited catalog for me. Okay, here are the national sponsors and vendors, and you can pick whatever you choose. And it became pretty quickly apparent to me that like I needed something to add a little bit more personality. And that's when I think it was actually the wallpaper I work with. She suggested that I reach out to you all and just ask. She said, it doesn't hurt to ask if they'd like to donate and be a part of this. And I was so happy that Milton King was amenable to that and was, really open to the request. And it definitely made this home have so much personality and spark.
How long did it take, the process, to decorate such a huge space?
Yes. So this last December, we had the groundbreaking ceremony. And I had deadlines in January and early February for all of those selections because the home was to be complete and open to the public in June. Or in May through June, excuse me. So, there were some decisions that I probably agonized over unnecessarily, but again, now you know. And then there were certain things that I had kind of the ability to add the final touches as far as some of the decorative items. Green Front Furniture is a local furniture company that are based outside of the Richmond area, but they have been a sponsor for many, many years of the St. Jude Dream Home. So I had the opportunity to go. They have 15 different buildings. It kind of is like a mini High Point for other designers out there who are familiar with High Point Market in North Carolina. 15 buildings, 4 of which are rugs alone, and go through them to essentially see furniture that was on the floor that they had and say, I would like that sofa and I want that sideboard and that dining table. So that was a really cool experience. And I was able to find almost everything I needed, minus like 1 or 2 things, which I then was like, okay, let me consult the Facebook Marketplace for those last little things that I needed to finish the vision.
Yeah, and you said that you wanted to bring in some personality, and wallpaper did that for you. Do you love using wallpaper in your spaces? Because I really do, especially on ceilings.
I really
it's my
do.
go-to.
Yeah. Same. I love the fifth wall.
The fifth wall.
Yes, I wallpaper is probably my favorite accessory to use, and it is something that is an investment when we ask our clients. To go on that journey with us, whether we're looking at doing something more simple as an accent wall or ceiling or powder rooms. Some of my favorite spaces to go really bold with wallpaper are powder rooms. And most people are comfortable with that because it's a space that isn't integral to the use of their home in the day-to-day, and they can close the door, and it's a great, way to really have some fun in your home when you have guests and if you're entertaining and things like that. But that was the thing. I had to pick the paint colors first, which typically paint colors are one of the last decisions I make. There might be some idea of this general palette, but then specific paint colors is typically last. So I had to work in reverse for the St. Jude Dream Home because we had already had to provide all of the paint selections to Sherwin-Williams. I want to say February or March, the latest. Wow. And so then after, Milton King had agreed to provide wallpaper, I was able to then get Chris, you were amazing in sending me the samples and everything I needed, so that we could then really do some matching up of, okay, this is the existing color in this bedroom. How do we want to pull from that in the selections of the different papers and patterns?
Okay, so because the paints were there, I was going to ask, how did you decide the designs and what went into deciding what should go where? So basically the existing color palette was sort of a big guiding factor for
It was
each
indeed.
space.
It was. And because I knew too that someone's going to win this home, I wanted to be thoughtful in my use of wallpaper. So I focus on accent walls in the bedrooms, just a way to really define those space and again, add a lot of personality. But already I'm thinking for next year, I want to have a really bold laundry room, do something really fun in there. It's a place that we all have to do a chore, and why not make it a more enjoyable space? And I think that, can add a lot of personality for sure to perhaps a thankless chore.
So do you already know you're going to get to do this next year as well?
Yes.
Oh,
And
excellent.
they are working on the site. So that should be determined quite soon, which is exciting.
That's excellent. Do you know, like, or can you tell us anything about who won the home, or was it
Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
okay, cool.
So the local news station, 12 on Your Side, they are a major supporter of the St. Jude campaign. And so we do lots of on-air interviews. They came to the home. And then when they did the raffle live on TV, they announced the winner. And then the winner has the opportunity to come tour the home. So the winner is a mom with a young daughter, I think maybe even an infant, who is actually a NICU nurse at our area children's hospital, which is pretty amazing. So just felt like felt very full circle in that. And she's very private and did not want to do like a tour of the home on TV, but just so thrilled for her and for her to enjoy this home. And especially given that connection with what she does professionally and caring for other people, it's nice that she really had something special.
That's amazing.
Excellent. What a rewarding
Yeah.
experience.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much. And, it's funny too, because like I mentioned, when I knew I wanted to make this leap it really was a leap of faith to do design full time. Being an entrepreneur is not for the faint of heart. And I would be telling you a huge lie if I said I figured it all out by now. I'm definitely grateful for all the networks and support around me within the design community, design adjacent community, to really help me be not only a great interior designer, but a business owner, right? And understanding those aspects. But I didn't go into interior design to like have a career that just was focused on like profit and success. I mean, that of course is necessary to maintain a business and provide for my family. But I was really trying to figure out early on, like, how do I connect it back to my roots and in the community and my, real commitment and love for the community. And so when this opportunity to design the St. Jude Dream Home was presented, it just really was like the perfect fit of my own experience in the nonprofit sector. Again, last, place I was at the American Heart Association. And so, really have a great deal of appreciation for national health-based nonprofit organizations that make a big difference. And so it was great to really kind of tie all those pieces together and have that as a meaningful give back of my business.
And so if someone wants to reach out to you, can they just go to your website, and is it marblemooninteriors.com or?
Yep, marblemooninteriors.com, also on Instagram, Marble Moon Interiors. I, am excited to continue to share some of the great projects that are wrapping up and being photographed, as well as what's soon to come. And I'm thrilled too to say I've got some fun projects I've put in place in my own home with some beautiful Milton King wallpaper. So we'll be excited to share those too.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming on here to talk with us today. I know Winnie has a final question for you.
So we have a question that we want to ask everyone that comes on the podcast, and it is, what keeps you creative?
I think what keeps me creative is I ensure that I carve time out for that, especially as, again, the entrepreneurship and as a small business owner, it can at times be like really, could be overwhelming. And so ensuring that there's still space to be creative, not only for my client's sake, but also as part of a creative person and fueling that. I'm planning to start taking a class and learning how to weave cane for chairs so that I can have, something, it's a dying art and something that I thought would be really cool to learn, and that even has a practical application potentially for my clients. So I'm excited to explore that and continue to have, different mediums that I can play with to grow as a creative individual.
I love that answer. Thank you.
Great.
Of course. Thank you. It was great
Thanks so much
talking with you both.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, and can't wait to keep up with everything that you're doing, and I'll definitely be keeping an eye out for the St. Jude Dream Home next year as well. So that should be exciting.
It's really inspiring to hear you connecting interiors and with a really good cause. So you're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you both.